Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The State Escape. I am your host, Malcolm Watson. Ooh, moment of silence for the late, great Marc Johnson. Marc was a ripper, man. He was definitely, even if you look at his footage right now ahead of his time, he has been amazing on the skateboard. Definitely top 10 on anyone's list. I put him right there next to Guy Mariano, Eric Costin in his prime, Shane O'Neill, who else? Even Yuto, because Marc skated everything. He was all-terrain ripper. But I'm not going to dwell and speak on the past when it comes to Marc Johnson. The last time I saw Marc, had a conversation with him was 2015, before I had knee surgery at Stoner Park. And leading up to that, I hadn't seen him probably in about 4 years. Wasn't sure if he even knew who I was. The last time I'd seen him prior to that was we were filming for the Lakai video. I was over at Wilshire 15. He pulled up in the clean black Range Rover. The day before, I had a concussion from a best trick contest. Won a little bit of money, which was always great, but I should not have been out skateboarding on this particular Sunday. And at that time, Wilshire, the 10 and the 15, that was a Sunday-only spot. Atiba was there. He paid off security. That gave us about a 1-hour window to get the tricks done. I was running and gunning trying to get my clip for the Lakai video, working on the 360 flip nose slide down the 10 stair. But as I said earlier, I had no business skateboarding that day. But I had to give it had to give it a shot, get out there and see what it could do. Didn't land my trick, but was there for the session. MJ showed up. He did a full cab to front board down the rail. I'm telling you, it might have took him about 8 tries. First, he kind of walked down the stairs, played with it, told Ty Evans, who was filming, this is what I'm working on, this is what I want to do. Ty grabbed his angle, and he got straight down to work. I think he front boarded the rail first, and then just went straight to kind of playing with the Caballero down the stairs to kind of imaginary, when you try a trick, especially on stairs or a rail, you just kind of, you get through the body motion of it, but you're not really committing to landing it. Well, that's what he did for about 3 or 4 tries, and then went all in on landed it. 8 tries, he's sitting down, rolled away, smooth as silk. Rick Howard showed up. Mike Carroll possibly showed up on that session. Kenny Anderson showed up, and at the time, this was Mike Moe's introduction part into the skateboard world, so they were off to the side kind of whispering, mumbling about what Mike Moe had landed the night prior. At the time, I heard the name, but I wasn't familiar with who he was yet. I hadn't watched any footage. I was alone in my own zone, just focused on doing me, so I was out the loop. But lo and behold, Mike Moe with an introduction when he finally got on the big stage. He had prior to that did another little indie video, which people knew what he could do, but their conversation revolved around the trick that Mike Moe landed the night before, but they didn't want to, it was obvious that they didn't want me to know or outside ears to hear what they were saying, because they kind of spoke in code, like, hey, did he land the trick? Oh, okay, he made the trick. Well, how did he land? Was his feet like this? And speaking in that type of language, so I knew enough. Like, all right, let me get away from you guys and get back to the street flip nose slide. And I didn't land it. But fast forward, a couple years go by, the world's introduced to everybody, fully flared drops, and I'm at Stoner Park. At this time, I had already lost all my sponsors. I'm working a full-time job, and just one of these off days between family life, let me go to the skate park and cruise around. Stoner was fairly new at that time, so pulled up. Chris Roberts there, a lot of well-known faces pulling up at the spot at Stoner, and sat next to Marc. Marc, yo, what's up, Malcolm? And that took me for a loop. I was still kind of starstruck because I knew who it is, and we had a bit of a rapport. But for him to know my name, that stuck with me. Never forgot it. Fast forward, a couple years go by, and Marc ends up making a business move, and the point of this is it's a method to my madness with this story, so bear with me. But Marc, a few years later, makes a business move, leaves Lakai to get on Adidas, and I understand. At the time, it was Day One and MJ leaving their respective sponsors. The story that I got from Mike Carroll in the interview was that it was I can understand it. It was just bad business. But you got to understand in the skateboarding space, we're all, even though our numbers and age are what they are, we're all still young with no serious mentorship, business training, coaching, any of that. Team managers that are just as young, if not maybe a year or two older than us, but they lack the maturity even of the professional skater that they're supposed to be managing. So fast forward, MJ makes that move to Adidas from Lakai, and as many other skaters that ride for companies where all your eggs are in one basket, meaning, for example, if you ride for Tum Yuttle, one of those Tum Yuttle brands like Toy Machine, Foundation, all of your eggs are in one basket typically. They want you to ride for Pig Wheels, destroy your trucks. At the time they had a shoe, decline shoes, all through the same umbrella. They want you to ride for everything. So needless to say, all your eggs are in one basket. But business-wise, we all know that's never a strategic chess move, because if they get upset with you in one fell swoop, you lose everything in one shot. And that was ultimately what happened with Marc when he made this move to go from Lakai to Adidas. And once again, like I said earlier, I get it. It was an executive business move. You're looking towards the future. You're dealing with a juggernaut, a shoe space that has an unlimited budget that can actually pay you a livable wage and set yourself up for after skateboarding, much less set you up for the future to where you can skateboard forever financially, versus riding for a company that's well respected and loved, but not necessarily paying you life-changing money. And if you want to get more in depth in that, I mean, I know what the numbers are. I know what companies paid. I know what guys were making, why some made the moves that they made. But if you ever see Lucas Pugh, ask him why he left Lakai to get on Adidas, and he'll tell you. But I'm going to leave that there. Fast forward, back to the lecture at hand. With Marc Johnson, when he made that move to Adidas, needless to say, the industry, it was a giant backlash where those not in the know saluted him, great for him, but those in the industry, the fans at this particular time in skateboard, we still are dealing with this core group of support skater-owned, skater-operated brands. And so because MJ did an interview prior where he was asked if you were ever offered a certain amount of money, would you leave your sponsors to go ride for that? And at the time, he felt the way he felt. He said, no, never. It doesn't matter how much money. I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off. This is the brands that I love. This is what I support. This is what's in my blood. This is what I'm going to do. And he stood on it. But once those interviews dropped and people took him for his word, and then shortly after that, he ended up having this opportunity and taking it on for whatever reason. I'm not in the building, so I don't know, if that's how you felt on Monday, but then something happened on Wednesday that rubbed you the wrong way, which made you to make a decision, which forced you, to make a decision business-wise on Friday that I'm ready to make my exit. But needless to say, people stood on that and took him for his word. And at the end of the day, people honestly really should not care. But when Marc made that move to Adidas, needless to say, he was blackballed from the industry. Overnight, he lost chocolate skateboards. And I know how that goes. I guarantee you, half of the heads on chocolate, half the people that he sat in that van with on Lakai and this so-called imaginary family and skateboarding, these guys, they had to pick a side. And for most of these guys, I'm going to say 95% of them, they're going to stick with the side that's cutting the check, right, wrong, or indifferent, and ride with Mike Carroll and Rick Howard. And I know Mike felt some type of way, and then a lot of these guys feel an allegiance to stay loyal to the guy cutting the checks. They hate to see it happen, but needless to say, you pick your side, so you got to stand on it. And with that, Marc was kind of banished into isolation from the skateboard world, from the thing he loved, but he got into this, making his next move the best move, which was leaving Lakai to ride for Adidas. Even Gary on the Thrasher episode made it a point in his show to actually address the issue and looked at it with disappointment, like a how dare you. And once again, unless you know the man and know why he's doing the things that he's doing, you shouldn't even really bother getting into that, but just appreciate the fact that it has nothing to do with what he does on that skateboard. Because no one else is out here paying the next person's bills or helping them through their daily struggles of life. And so with that, Marc was essentially put into a corner in isolation. And as I said prior to that, I know what it looks like, know what it feels like, been through it multiple times. The last time I dealt with it with World Industries, it honestly made me a bit of a recluse. And I wasn't seen often. And after that, when I do pop out, I'm elusive. I don't want to be around the industry whatsoever or the people in it. I love skateboarding, but I don't necessarily like skateboarders, if you will. There's a T-shirt of that too on Skate Mental that they're selling on the website that I might have to go grab. I love skateboarding, but I hate skateboarders. I don't hate skateboarders. I just don't like the industry or the people really involved in it because a lot of it is superficial and fake. And here today, gone tomorrow. A lot of it consists of what people can get out of you, and largely consists on just standing next to the person to maybe help your situation. So it's a lot of that in the industry, and so Marc dealt with that in these last few years, even following his social media, Instagram, he hadn't posted since 2020. And so it really, I'm just tired of people getting their flowers when they can't smell them. And if you go online now, the first post, that I saw was someone text me a screenshot of Mikey Taylor saying, yo, I haven't talked to Mike in a decade, if not longer than a decade, and expressing his love and admiration for the man. But, I mean, come on, Mike, it's been 10 years. In that time frame, you set up an Instagram account. You probably on TikTok and all these other platforms. You got into politics, campaigned, got elected, got the key to the city. You did all this stuff, but you couldn't pick the phone up or text the man. And I know what people are saying. Well, you did. I didn't have his number. I saluted him when I saw him. We rapped, kept it moving. I wasn't necessarily in his circle. Keep in mind, just being 100% authentic, I was a D-list skateboarder at best in terms of what this industry standard is. I didn't ride for a top-tier A-list company, so I was never ever in the van. I reached out to Lakai, tried to get on, but I had a D-list board sponsor at the time. And so with that, leaving that right there, I don't have any of these guys' numbers. I know them, though. I know them, and I've met these guys before they were sponsored, many of them coming up through the ranks. But I know what it is, left it at that. Didn't have his number to reach out. And it's just tough because we make a million excuses to not reach out to a person or not to check in on a person, but we do so much other nonsense stuff with our time. For example, if you're on social media and you make it a point to upload 4 or 5 videos a day, there's no excuse why you can't send a text to a person just to check in on them. And this isn't, it goes beyond, I get it, it dawned on me. A lot of this stuff with a lot of people, their relationships are purely skateboard based. They can love and admire and like the person, but once you eliminate their skateboard, they want nothing to do with the person. And so your relationship is solely based on that skateboard. And so I know for the majority of heads, that's what it is. You can't depend on these people in an emergency because they won't be there to help you. They'll give you an excuse. And so for much even of the industry heads, the guys that were in the van with them, like I said, they picked their side. And that much is clear. But by doing so, it can force a person into such extreme isolation that there's a saying that idle time is the devil's playground, and that idle time and that loneliness can make a person really get depressed and in despair, and they'll turn to the bottle and other substances to escape the reality of abandonment, if you will. And I think I've seen it so many times in skateboarding, along with just dealing with life issues to where it just doesn't end well. But I'm just tired of people reaching out and handing all these bouquets of flowers after the person can't smell them. That's the part about it for me that's disgusting and just a waste of time. We see it even in the music space. Notorious Big, little fun fact, when Biggie was alive after dropping Ready to Die, the man had only went double platinum. That's it. He sold 2 million records and that was it. But then, unfortunately, lost his life in Los Angeles over on Wilshire. Dropped Life After Death, and immediately in 1 year sold over 10 million records, went diamonds. And so people, too often make the mistake of not appreciating the person when they're in front of them or when you have them here, and they wait until it's too late, and now they give them their ear. And skateboarding and other things in life are no exception. We just need to grow out of that, keep it 100, be mature, and from time to time, reach out to people. I understand everyone has a life. You got your family that you're cultivating, work, dealing with all the chaos that you deal with, but don't wait till it's too late. Now you want to write these books about how much you love and respected, and this was your favorite skater and all that nonsense. Because this time last year, Marc had his board company, Business and Company, and I guarantee you, because I checked the site from time to time, the boards were up for sale. Nobody was buying it. You can go to the skate park of Tampa. They had the boards on the website. Nobody was buying it. Sold a few. That was it. Deshaun Jordan rode for it, quit, got on Toy Machine, made his next move the best move for whatever reason. And so now you could find those same boards on eBay going for $1,000, just like that, overnight. You wouldn't pay $50 for it or $45 when the man was here to support it, but now that he's gone, let me capitalize and sell one for $1,000. And people are actually sitting here bidding on it because now they want it in the vault. And that's the part about it that upsets me. But I'm used to it because I've seen it before. Like I mentioned Biggie as an example. Or even my guy Nipsey Hussle out of L.A., Crenshaw District, that after the man passes away, now you get a street in your name and all these other things that we do to honor you, but you weren't here to partake in that success and hug your kids and celebrate it with your family. But in the skateboard space, we got to stop that, cut it out. I saw, and I'm not on social media because it puts me in a different mind frame that I don't want to be in, just looking at individuals, because I have experiences with these guys, and quite frankly, it just doesn't leave me feeling energized and inspired to go out and be productive. But I saw a post, about 4 seconds of a post that someone sent me of Chris Doom Pastris, and I spoke about him in the past and how I feel about it, but he's sitting there talking about how he was at dinner when he got the call or the text and left $50 worth of food on the table. And it was at that moment right there I had to just cut the video off because I already know where it's going. But once again, like I said earlier, Chris, you're in a position of power. You have stereo skateboards. If you felt this strong about him to where you lost your appetite and his demise, why didn't you offer him or extend the olive branch to put him in the building in stereo? I get it because you messed with him, but it was from a distance. And you admired the man, but from a distance. Did you ever pick the phone up? Did you reach out? Did you, even from a business standpoint, look, Mark, I understand what happened with you and Mike and Rick over there at the Krell Tap headquarters, but there's some opportunity over here. Are you interested? Would you like your brand, Business and Company, maybe distributed or partnered up with us? And I'm only saying that because you're in a position of power. You've been in the business of running a brand, stereo skateboards and other things, for the better part of 20 plus years, if not 30. So it is what it is, but I'm going to leave that there. It's just now that the person is gone, and I can't tell anyone how to act or feel or anything like that. I'm just saying, fellas, moving into the future, don't wait till the person's not here before you express how you feel about them and just check in on them. Because behind a lot of smiles is depression. A lot of people that are smiling, they're not necessarily happy. They just don't know how to take that mask off and actually open up and be open and honest and deep and have a conversation about what they're going through. For whatever reason, that just is what it is. And so you have to kind of sometimes check beneath that smile, like, yo, how are you really doing? How's everything? Talk to me. But as men, we don't talk. To keep it once again all the way 100, we don't talk. We don't talk about our issues, what we're dealing with physical-wise, how we feeling, what we're dealing with at home, life, any of the real stuff. So we keep it kind of superficial, talking about the weather and the birds and the bees and the dogs barking and a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't mean anything about anything, that you can still walk away from that conversation still feeling depressed or some type of way. But moving forward, we need to do better and actually try and get beneath the surface of what is really going on, how people are doing, just so that you can possibly help them out if they need any type of assistance from you. If not, just you're here. Sometimes for a lot of people, they're not even looking for help. They just need to hear. They need somebody to reach out to be like, look, this is what I'm having. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what's going on. Talk to me. Listen to me. Let me vent, if you will. And that's just what it is. So that moving forward, just take that for what it's worth. If you can, reach out before it's too late so that you don't have to make these posts talking about how disappointed you are and X, Y, Z about individuals after they're gone. I know a lot of guys in the skateboard space have battled addiction, substance abuse, and even with that stuff, as they try and sober up, it still leaves life-lasting effects on the body. Like, there's absolutely nothing healthy about drinking alcohol and its consumption. Nothing whatsoever. It has absolutely zero health benefits. That goes for liquor and beer. If anything, it's just destroying your kidneys slowly, and I've seen it firsthand, to where people, their bodies jaundice up, their eyes, their skin changes colors, and they get that alcohol swell and the chemical imbalance. I'm gonna tell you a quick story real quick. I'm just touching on what alcohol and the party and the drugs will do to a person. It was Tampa Pro, early 2000s. At this time, I'm still riding for arcade skateboards. Baker was on top of the world. Andrew Reynolds was knee deep in the piss drunk character, the piss drunk season of his life, and I watched him at Tampa Pro that weekend. He showed up, had the leather jacket, didn't really skate, was just there hanging out, drunk, partying. Is what it is. We end up on the same airplane heading back from Tampa to LAX, and at first, originally, you could tell with Reynolds that they weren't going to let him on the flight. It wasn't a matter of you could tell. It happened. They called his name, had him get up out of his seat. Security escorted him off the plane. They got on the loudspeaker. Is there a Mr. Andrew Reynolds on board? Is there an Andrew Reynolds on board? Please let the flight attendant know. He hit the buzzer. They got on the plane, escorted him off, and then after about 5-10 minutes, they let him back on the plane. He was holding about 4 bottled waters because they weren't sure, physically looking at him, they weren't sure if he was going to be okay on this plane. But he convinced them. He said what he had to say, got on the flight. Fast forward about 3 hours into the flight, and this is back when they would actually give you a meal on the airplane. Fast forward, they're passing out food, and Reynolds says basically he needs a beer or some liquor to keep his food down, just to eat. And so I threw $10 at him. That was all I had. I wasn't really holding a bunch of paper, and I'm kind of looking at him like, man, you're doing better than me. You got a shoe, you got your America money, you have. And I'm not counting pockets, but you're doing better than me. I'm riding up, like I said, I'm a D-lister. I'm riding for my board brand, making my little $1,500 a month. That was it. And I'm making it stretch, letting it do what it does. And on your end, you cashing a lot of checks, but I get it. Your checks are going to the dope man and the liquor store and just supporting your habit. But I threw him the 10. I'm gonna have to hit him up on that one of these days too, with interest. And that was what it was. And so at that time, he was battling that monkey of addiction. And then fast forward 1 year later, he comes back and wins Tampa Pro. He sobered up, got smacked in the face with reality. And that's what I say. Sometimes life will force you to slow down, but even if you're not ready to turn over a new leaf, it will force you beyond your control to sit down and think about your situation and make your choice. Either I'm going to go down this road, I'm going to continue down this road into self-destruction, or I want to live. I want to get back to just being healthy and skateboard. Neen is another example of a person that had that moment of reflection after he tore his knee up and had to sit there and had that moment of clarity, like, look, what am I doing with myself? I'm not a drug addict. I don't need this stuff to function. I don't need this stuff to skateboard. So if I truly want to skateboard again, I need to get healthy and sober up. And that was what he did. He removed himself from the toxic circle and that environment. You got to cut people off. Got into isolation, got in that gym, took the PT very, very seriously, and it inspired him and turned over, something that no one could have seen. Where now, salute to me, he's got restaurants all across the U.S. with not a damn chance smash burgers. And I salute him because he came out the other side and he won. But it took, like I said, you have to want to do it. And luckily for all these individuals, they didn't damage their body to the degree where even though you sobered up and quit, your body is still slowly shutting down. And as is the case with a lot of people, I won't say the names, but we've enough skateboarders to addiction that you know the individuals, not all of them, but some of the guys that we've lost. I'm gonna leave that right there. But moving forward, people, just give everybody their flowers while they can smell them. Skateboard industry, you guys should be ashamed of yourself because you know you blackballed the man. He couldn't get on anything after that. And if you really messed with him, you would have said, okay, Mike, I understand your issue, but that's got nothing to do with us. We about to get to this money. We love Marc. He needs our support. And on top of that, you guys kicked him one man's trash, another man's treasure. So we making moves over here. That could have very easily taken place. And at Marc Johnson's particular skill set of being an innovator and creator, I would think he could pick the phone up and pick his sponsors. But the game is so political that when they see you blackballed, and like I said, they pick a side, you're done. They don't want to touch you. And that was the case in his situation. So, man, hopefully we don't have to have these conversations again and revisit episodes like this. But moving forward, hopefully you were able to get an ounce of game and just insight into the industry and how it works so that we can just be a better community and be better humans and friends and partners and all of that to the people closest to us and those around us. But condolences to the family. Marc Johnson, I know you had a son out there like many other skaters. Their kids ripped, but for some reason, industry-wise, they have no opportunity. I know Marc Johnson's son skateboarded. Rudy Johnson's son skateboarded. Chico Bruna's son skateboards. Lance Mountain Jr.'s son skateboard. All these guys do it at a high level, but no opportunity. And they should be in the van on brands, but for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. And I definitely don't want to see a chocolate tribute board now. Don't do it now when you wasn't messing with them 2 weeks ago. Please don't do it. Don't do them like New York did Harold. Now all of a sudden, it's 1,000 items, whatever you could slap the late great Harold Hunter's face on to make $1. You're doing it in the name of capitalism. But when he was here, he was struggling. And I know Harold personally. I was with him in Vancouver. Actually, I was still in Vancouver when I got the news, and this is the MySpace era. But everything in that situation wasn't 100. Sponsor-wise, people-wise, you wait till the man's gone and his legends never die. But you weren't saluting them like that. Skateboarding the community, you weren't saluting them like that when he was here to benefit from that. But we got to be honest, people. If you know somebody suffering from addiction, anything else, have that serious conversation, that intervention. Look, man, what you want to do? You trying to live or you trying to die? If you need help, I can help you the best I can. Have those conversations. Do what you can do before it's too late. And then you find yourself writing these paragraphs talking about how much they meant to you. Because to me, it just comes off as a ditch fake when you do it, and it's way too late, and you never reached out, never said anything. And for all those skaters out there that are making these big, long, ridiculous posts and feeling the need to drop your 2 cents about all that, man, and I know what you're thinking, Malcolm, did you buy? Yeah, I have a Marc Johnson board. I have one of his chocolate boards where they misspelled his name MARK instead of the MARC. I bought one. I have a Marc Johnson board, a Guy Mariano girl board, a Eric Costin board that I bought. I didn't even get that from the shop. I bought that from Jamie Thomas's garage sale for a couple $100 for the Hyundai. Because I salute Eric Costin, my favorite skaters. I support him like that when I can financially. So yeah, I do have one, but don't. If you really rock with a person, go out there and support them. Go to whatever. You know what you got to do to grab their board. Don't wait till it's too late and they pass away, and now you got to pay an exorbitant amount of money. It's not worth it to get one of their boards. Go salute them right now, support them so they can keep the lights on in their household and enjoy doing what they love doing, which is riding their skateboard. And that's my spiel. So until next time, you guys know what to do, man. Just be safe out there. Take care of each other. And try and see through all the superficial fakeness that exists in the skateboard game. And once again, if you have a favorite skater, go out there, support them while they're here. If you really care that much about them and are inspired by them, tap into their social media, let them know how you feel. But far too often, skateboarders, when their sponsors part ways with them, the same fans part ways as well. So you don't have to be one of those individuals. Reach out to them, check in on them, and that is it. You guys keep the wheels rolling out there. Thank you for tuning in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And right now, salute to everybody that I do have your ear, that rocks with me with the skate escape. I'm trying. At times I'm inspired and I wanna record, and other times I just got stuff going on in my head. My head gets wrapped up with a little bit of chaos of just life. Nothing too extreme, all first world problems. But needless to say, it doesn't leave me in the best creative space. So I don't record on those moments. I kind of just wait till something hits me or there's something that I need to talk about to where I reach out and lend my 2 cents on the situation. And this is one of those times. So tell a friend to tell a friend. You guys sub, share. Salute to everybody in all these other countries that I've yet to visit that are rocking with me over here on the Skate Escape. Until next time, you guys know what to do. Malcolm Watson here signing off.